Okay, let's just hold off for a second on trying to talk about what the World Wide Web is, and let's focus on what it could do. Okay, so here's some context. Let's say these are the big boys. The walled gardens we're all familiar with. You know, you've got your Prodigy, CompuServe, America Online.
America Online. What kind of name is that anyways? It sounds like a Neil Diamond song. We're coming to America Online. We're coming.
Okay, and then we've got NSFNet. Now, what Berners-Lee is proposing in this paper is an application that could run on this network of networks. And now, while NSFNet isn't for commercial use yet, and it isn't, you know, sexy at all.
Hey, come on. NSFNet's dripping with sex.
The size and scope of that would be formidable. Still, it's completely separate from the walled gardens where all the real money is. Right now, unifying all these networks is essentially impossible. There's different software, different protocols, different operating system on different hardware. But if something like the World Wide Web expands, what it ultimately could do is this, right?
Well, no, not really. No. Sorry, I know I wasn't exactly invited. May I? Thanks. Okay, if I'm understanding this correctly, an implementation would somehow take these massive online networks and do this.
No, you've got it backwards. Can you give me the thing? Good. Oh. It's this, isn't it? Remember, the World Wide Web and NSFNet, or the Internet, or whatever you want to call it, are two different things. The web runs on top of the Internet. It unifies everything. It makes it one network. And that's the incredible potential behind something like this. Right now, the online world is the Tower of Babel. This is the Rosetta Stone. And it's running on state-of-the-art Next hardware and software.
Yeah, that's my biggest problem.
Next step is not a problem, it's perfect.
Okay, yeah. But I run a network that's not just on a whiteboard.
All right, here we go.
The next is a state-of-the-art system.
Designed by a disgraced megalomaniac who loves form over function. No wonder you love the next. Like, if we're talking about a network that, you know, lives exclusively on a ridiculously overpriced machine that, you know, doesn't really play nice with anything else on the technological landscape, what we're really looking at...
Oh, well, please.
...is this.
Be my guest.
Tiny little desert island that nobody gives a shit about.
Cameron, what do you think? Okay.
Say we're all talking the same way. Cool. What are we saying? Are we just shooting the breeze? Are we playing games? Are we looking to get laid? Are we just mindlessly shopping?
That's an excellent point. Content is paramount. But this box is the equivalent of a 500,000-seat, state-of-the-art stadium. And we build that. We own that. We win.
What's the point of having a giant stadium if you don't have a kick-ass band to play the venue?
Whoa. Guys, the last thing that we need to do right now is hop in the car and race out to the parking lot of an empty stadium before rock and roll's even invented. Okay, guys, we are early. And I'm not talking let's all just run down to the IHOP and grab some silver-dollar pancakes early. We are years and years early on this, trust me. Okay, this is what I do.
I can't believe you don't see this.
Look, I agree. Okay, the World Wide Web could be the next best thing since sliced bread. But right now, it's a tiny little academic petri dish running on a Next computer.
In Europe.
Yes, in Europe.
Then what exactly are we all doing
Okay,
here?
hold on. Just let's not lose the shared idea here. There's a shared protocol. This is a universal language.
So it's Esperanto.
What the heck is Esperanto?
It's a language for idiots that failed.
I went to the Hypertext conference a few weeks ago.
The what conference?
Hypertext. Some pretty big names were there. Apple, Xerox. I'm surprised you didn't hear about it.
Yeah, me too.
It was right after I saw you in Comdex.
Okay, so Hypertext Conference.
Berners-Lee was there, and he was talking to anyone who would listen. He handed out the entire web toolkit, the transfer protocol, the markup language, the server software, everything.
Wait, you met
You
him?
have all of that.
Yeah.
Well, that would have been useful to know this morning, maybe.
What's so interesting about a programming language like hypertext.
It's not a programming language. It's just a text that accesses other texts.
Yes, I'm actually talking about HTML, the markup language. What's so interesting about it is its simplicity. With a very basic set of rules, you can create pages of information, objects, and eventually media when the bandwidth increases. So I cornered the guys at CERN.
Sorry, what again? What is CERN?
CERN, European Organization for Nuclear Research.
Oh, right, nuclear research. Okay, I see the connection.
Sorry, I'm not hearing the C word in there.
And nobody was paying any attention to them. In a way, they reminded me of Gordon and Donna Comdex 81.
What,
I'm
pathetic?
devastatingly handsome.
Geniuses ahead of their time. Berners-Lee handed out guidebooks not only for HTML, but HTTP, the transfer protocol, the call and response process for moving information like this across a potential network.
Addressing protocol is TCP/IP.
But HTTP is the abstraction application layer protocol that sits on top of TCP/IP symbiotically, right, Tom? With HTTP, any machine can become a client, any machine can become a server, easily exchanging files.
No, files are FTP, as in file transfer protocol. It's the one that has file in the name of it.
What I am saying is HTTP will eventually supplant FTP. What I'm saying is it can do it all.
That's interesting.
Really? FTP? That's interesting.
But I'd like to get back to an important point. Simplicity. Both HTML and HTTP are breathtakingly simple. And this kind of elegance allows for versatility. It allows for universality.
Yes, a universal language, like I said.
And the best part is the online catalog viewer, the transfer protocol, the web server software, all of it is free.
I have a problem with open source.
You do?
Yeah, I do. Do you know how many bad video game pitches I sit through every single day? The only way Sega stays Sega or Nintendo stays Nintendo is by not turning those pitches into products.
That's not...
No, because open source allows the lunatics to run the asylum. And every time you put well-made code out into the world for people to screw around with, it causes major problems. I mean, just look what happened to Macmillan Utility.
What are you doing?
What happened to Macmillan Utility?
The release of their source code online vaporized millions of shareholder dollars, and long story short, you're not around anymore.
Okay. Or you could look at it a different way. That with everyone creating something like the web together, some potentially amazing things could happen. One, it gets built very fast. Two, it becomes huge in size. Three, it's constantly being edited and refined, so it's improving at a massive rate. And four, there's no overlord controlling things.
And what network does this giant, miraculous nebula of collaboration happening on?
You know as well as I do that something like this could change the face of the internet.
The internet is not available for commercial use. I mean, do you know how much money I poured into lobbying trying to get deregulation through? Like, everybody wants this, and it's gonna happen eventually. But we are early, and it's all about timing. If the timing's off, we're dead, okay? I mean, timing's what killed mutiny.
Timing didn't kill mutiny.
The right people make it the right time. We can move this forward. We can be the people that make that future happen.
Oh my God.
What?
I'm so sick of hearing about the future. What is that? The future is just another crappy version of the present. It's some bribe people offer you to make you do what they want instead of what you want.
This future can be different. Berners-Lee wrote HTML to view and edit the web, HTTP so that it could talk to itself. The chatter could be cacophonous. It could be deafeningly silent. Big picture. What will the World Wide Web become? Short answer, who knows?
Okay, so what's your point?
It's a waste of time to try to figure out what the web will become. We just don't know. Because right now, at the end of the day, it's just an online research catalog running on Next computers on a small network in Europe.
So you're saying everything we've talked about since we got here has been a waste of time?
I'm saying, let's take a step back. Literally, a step back.
Yeah, but what is this on the board?
It's the code for the web browser.
And you wrote it all on the whiteboard.
The online catalog of research?
Full of Norwegian dudes, physics papers, and particle diagrams and stuff?
Yeah, and we care about this because why?
How did we all get here today? From the choices we made? The sheer force of our will? Something like that? Here's another answer. The winds of fate. Random coincidence, some unseen hand just pushing us along. Destiny. How did we all get here today? We walked through this door. We don't have to build a big white box or a stadium or invent rock and roll. The moment we decide what the web is, we've lost. The moment we try to tell people what to do with it, we've lost. All we have to do is build a door and let them inside. When I was 5, my mother took me to the city, and we went through the Holland Tunnel, and it was basic, concrete and steel. But it was also my excitement sitting in the back seat, wondering when it was going to be our turn to emerge. It was the explosion of sunlight. And when we exited the tunnel, all of Manhattan was laid out before us. And that was the best part of the trip. The amazing possibility to be able to go anywhere within something that is magnificent and never-ending. This is the first web browser, the rudimentary one CERN built to view and edit research. I wrote it up here for you to see how simple it is. It takes up one white board. That's basic concrete and steel. But we can take this and we can build a door, and we can be the first ones to do it. Because right now, everyone else sees this
as an online research catalog.
Running on Next.
On a network in Europe.
And with this handful of code, we can build the Holland Tunnel.
I don't see it.
I mean, is it a door or is it a tunnel? Or is it the Tower of Babel? Or is it a Rosetta Stone? Or is it a stadium? You can't even decide on a metaphor. And if the big idea here is the browser and it's that easy to build, then it's not a big idea at all. It's a foregone conclusion. And how can we win at something when anyone, including Xerox and Apple and all of the actual players from your little hypertech shindig, can step in at any moment and crush us?
It will be competitive because whoever owns the door can charge admission.
Underneath the bridge where the water